I want to talk all about free agency and the Broncos salary cap situation because that is less than a month away, believe it or not. The new league year begins March 12th, but legal tampering starts March 10th. So we're going to talk about how the Broncos can free up a ton of cap space and then who they could use that cap space on potentially. But I want to see this channel continue to grow. I love what I do every single day, coming into the office and hanging out with you guys. So share our content, put it on social media. You can tag me at Matthew Petey, send it to a friend, whatever it is, just continue to get the word out about the Broncos breakdown. Now, where do the Broncos currently stand in the salary cap space? They're actually right in the middle, 16th. Not too shabby given that just 11 months ago, they were moving on from Russell Wilson with an $85 million dead cap hit. Broncos had to make some more cheaper acquisitions. They had to rely more on draft picks, and those bets paid off. So they've got money right now, and a good amount, but they've got the richest owners in the NFL. And by richest, I mean they have more wealth than second, third, and fourth combined amongst all owners in the National Football League. And they've got a head coach in Sean Payton who, go look at the Saints, look how aggressive they are in spending and whatnot. They like to make moves. They are not a team, a small market baseball team like the Oakland A's that just sits back and hopes that some of their AAA guys are good and then they can trade them away for a bunch of prospects. So let's talk about how the Broncos can free up some cap space and maybe kind of follow a little bit of like the Eagles blueprint. Because if you're wondering if it's worth spending in free agency, I'm not saying if you sign all these players, you're going to win the Super Bowl, but look what the Eagles did. They went out and they got Saquon Barkley. They brought back C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They brought back Brandon Graham. They brought in Zach Bond and a whole bunch of more guys. They made a lot of moves. The Cowboys, for example, make no moves. And look what the Cowboys are versus the Eagles. So if you've got a front office and an ownership that greenlights spending in free agency, take advantage of it. Now, before we look at ways they can free up cap space, if you're wondering, who might they use all this extra cap space on? Deebo Samuel is one name to watch for. He was recently on a Bleacher Report podcast, and he talked about how much he would love, or basically I think love, to play with Sean Payton and Bo Nix. You can see what he said here on, which team is really close. He said, I can say Denver. Bo Nix is playing really, really good ball right now. He likes their defense. Now, I'm not trying to paint a message that Deebo is going to cost you a ton of money in salary cap space. My guess is the 49ers, if they don't find a trade partner, are just going to release him. And at that point, you could probably sign him for not a ton of money. But still, it's nice to have options. Plus, you've got a first-round draft pick, a second-round draft pick. Those rookie contracts, they are already, pre-established what they are. So you've got to have that money left in your piggy bank for when April rolls around to pay your draftees. So let's go over the path to maybe creating $50 million in cap space. Step one, I'm going to say cut, but if you can find a trade partner, that's even better. But we're moving on from PJ Locke. It was a bad season. After signing a 2-year contract with the Broncos, he was not the Kareem Jackson physical, just running downhill type safety I was hoping he would be. No, he was not. He didn't make much of an impact in the box or getting in behind the line of scrimmage. He didn't make much of an impact when it came to splash plays or anything like that. There just was a bit of an empty space with 6 on the field. I just think you can do better. He was not a major liability, really. I don't think there were a lot of moments where, fucking PJ Locke, not like Damari Mathis 2 years ago, but still, you can improve. And if you trade PJ Locke, move on from PJ Locke, there's $4 million in cap savings. Again, Denver does not need to create a bunch of cap space to become cap compliant. They were already in the green by a lot. But if they want more cap space, plus if they're like, he's not really all that good anyway for us, and the added bonuses, $4 more million to spend elsewhere, Zach Bond signed for about $4 million. So you can find good players with that much money. Now, next up on the show, we have some more moves Denver and Sean Payton can make to free up cap space, so don't go anywhere. But I was surfing the web, and that sounded so old of me to say. I know, I threw up my mouth just saying that. Yeah, and I came across this really cool Bo Nix jersey. I like to go on Fanatics because they always do rolling deals of 25% off today, and then the next day there's no deal, and you come back the day after that, and there's another deal again. So when I was on Fanatics, I saw this Bo Nix jersey, which I thought was a pretty good, get for a Broncos fan to add to their wardrobe. So go to chatsports.com/Knicks shirt. It's not as expensive as a jersey, but it gets the same message across. So I love jerseys. If you like them too, that link is in the comments and description of today's video. Can't believe I said surfing the web. Okay, second step. Trade or cut Adam Trautman. Same for Locke. If you can find a trade partner, cool. You're probably not going to get a trade partner or much in a trade. Albert O, if you remember, went for a 7th-round draft pick right before roster cutdown day. These guys are going to go for future 7th-round picks. But overall, I think we can agree on the Broncos tight end room needs a major facelift. I think it needs such a facelift, they might go to Turkey and do like the hair transplant that everyone does. It's in that dire need of an improvement. Now, similar to Locke, there's not a boatload of savings out there. He signed a 2-year contract last offseason. I get the sense that Sean Payton really likes Trautman, and he may not be looking to move on from him, but maybe he did have higher expectations for him this season, and $3 million plus you don't have to give him a roster spot. If you plan on moving on from him during like roster cutdown day in August, or if you're at least thinking about it, you release him now, you get $3 million, and you'll get $3 million also in August. But the difference is there's no one worth signing in August. There are lots of good players to sign in March, so take that money now when you can actually spend it on quality players. Also, the game plan I think for Denver is to get Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland. We'll see if one or both of these players is available at pick number 20. I don't want to say anything's a guarantee this far away from the draft, but if the idea is we're going to go after Tyler Warren in the draft, well, all of a sudden Trautman's becoming a lot more expendable. Third and final path to $50 million. We're going to move on from Ben Powers. The Broncos offensive line, I don't want to say it's an enigma because it's good. Bowles, good. McGlinchey, good. Miners, great. And then there's Wattenberg, who just finished his full first season as a starter, so I don't want to make any hardcore conclusions on him. But Ben Powers signed a nice 4-year, $50+ million contract 2 off seasons ago. For what he's being paid, he is the worst offensive lineman of the bunch. I mean, just from a pure pound for pound, like what you pay Wattenberg versus what you pay Powers, this is the worst value you are getting. And the offensive line did a great job protecting Bo Nix. Not so great of a job when it comes to clearing running lanes for the running backs. So if you move on from Ben Powers and you designate him as a post-June 1 release, that allows you to take the dead money and split it over 2025 and 2026. It's what they did with Russell Wilson. And that way you can save $12 million in salary cap. So if you do all this, the 2 cuts/trades plus moving on from Ben Powers, you generate $19.2 million in cap savings. Now, full disclosure, you will not get the $12 million from Ben Powers until after June 1st. That is when that money actually hits the board. But still, I think these are all moves worth looking into to not only open up some extra cap space, but also probably improve your roster if you plan on finding upgrades at those positions. Now, before we sign off, grade my cap space saving plan. Scroll on down, give me an A, B, C, D, or F. I want to hear from everyone watching right now your cap saving plan. Plus, Broncos, if you missed it, we put a video out about this. They hired former Saints special teams coordinator Darren Rizzi. So hopefully Rizzi brings in a couple of guys who he thinks can be big contributors on special teams. Zach Bond was a special teams contributor in New Orleans. Now he has a breakout year at the Eagles. Ooh, Rizzi, Bond, Payton, all overlapping. Maybe you open up some cap space to pay him at inside linebacker. You know what? That's actually a good one here. Before we sign off, we always do a name a random one. So let's name a random Broncos linebacker. Name a random Broncos linebacker. I've got one, and I think some of you might think you're going to outfox me. I'm going to count down when I want to change mine. No, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep the same. All right. Count down from 3, 2, 1. Josie Jewell. You probably did not think I would go that recent. So a little reverse psychology. You were going way back to like Danny Trevathan. No. I went just last year, Josie Jewell. That will do it for us on today's episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.